So, now that we're 22 episodes deep into Campaign 3 of Critical Role, Bell's Hells, what are my thoughts on it? Campaign 3, huh? Especially as someone who is now almost caught up with all of Critical Role. Campaign 3 is starring a completely new cast of quirky characters now in the continent of Marquette. Now this is a continent we are more than familiar with through Campaign 1 especially, and less so in Campaign 2. But I would say that the setup and setting for this campaign is fairly interesting, I would say, in my opinion. Now that we're in Marquette, which obviously now is sort of the probably least explored continent and is being given more depth, this is hard to talk about. Shit. Fuck the setup. I'm just gonna give my honest thoughts, actually. Campaign 3 worries me. It does. It does worry me in a handful of ways. Dorian's departure is one thing that definitely was sad, I would say, and I'd say Robbie was a great cast member overall. And that kind of concerns me just a little bit for how the future of this campaign will go, because it has thrown a wrench into things. And while it has made things more interesting, we did lose a good player at the table, I would say. In addition to that, what's worried me so far about Campaign 3 and has continued now even into episode 22 and its revelations is exactly what Matt Mercer was worried about after the end of Campaign 1, which was like relying on nostalgia and whatnot. Campaign 2 obviously proved that wrong, and how you can, for the most part, have a interesting story in the same world without relying on the first campaign too heavily. Campaign 3, they've kept saying one of their lines is like, everything is out the window and whatnot. In some ways good and in some ways bad. To me, it ever so slightly makes it less interesting how characters and their, they should be a little more unique, right? And some of these characters are kind of, I want to say, relying or banking on certain elements of Campaign 1 and Campaign 2 in some regards. And who knows, maybe I'm proven wrong, and maybe everything is okie dokie and, I'm just freaking out over nothing, but spoilers if you're not caught up. Ashton and the way his powers work is because DAMSC stuff was spilled into his brain. And the way that, Laudna's backstory is, and Orm's backstory is, all kind of are heavily relying on Campaign 1 and or 2 elements that I'm very worried to see where they go, and perhaps that they could be given more depth. And I don't know, it's not even necessarily a bad thing. I don't know, it's not like their characters aren't bad or uninteresting. It feels a lot less serious and, I don't know, less grandiose, less epic. I don't know, maybe it's just me getting stale with the formula or something. Also, we're only 20 episodes deep. Is it really fair for me to criticize Campaign 3 if, it's not even done yet? The first 22 episodes into Mighty 9, we were just getting into, traveling around, and Molly died like 4 episodes later or something. I don't know, it also feels like everyone's leveling up too fast. But maybe that's just a bit of a placebo, just because I'm, watching it weekly or whatever. Oh, the fucking thoughts. The thoughts on this are so fucking complex and multifaceted. Maybe I'm worrying over nothing. Maybe I get surprised later on, some big twists and turns, I guess. I like a lot of things about Critical Role, the characterization of everyone's characters and whatnot, and I don't know, I feel there is characterization in Campaign 3. A lot of it even, but I don't know what it is. It's just like, it's hard to define. It's hard to be like, this is a problem, like this is the thing. It really is. Like, I'm not really sure. Like, this is just kind of a rambly bullshit thoughts. Fuck. Ah! I guess if there's good things to comment on in this campaign so far, everyone's got a good constitution score. How about that? I think everyone has a +2 or more. So we're looking at a pretty healthy party. A little higher in the HP pools, some would say. And I'm very, very intrigued as to most everyone's builds and whatnot, and how some people are quirky homebrew and whatnot. You got FCG and Ashton, and whatever comes up with Imogen. I guess that stuff, for me, is probably the biggest strength of the campaign. The fact that it is one of the main focuses and stuff, and I do like the plot. I do like loose kind of plot elements that are present in Critical Role campaigns, I would say. For example, I would say one thing that hooked me into Mighty Nine pretty early on was episode 12, where that was where they got the beacon, which was like a gigantic plot element for like the next 60 episodes or some insanity. But then again, also the characters were just like 10 out of 10 in Mighty Nine for like the most part. So it's insane, isn't it? I can't quite put my finger on it. I don't know what it is, but I guess I'd say it's pretty obvious that like campaign 3 is like probably the weakest so far. I mean, depends if you want to count the first 27 of Vox Machina for, you know, Orion and his presence, I guess, because people often cite him leaving in campaign 1 as, you know, oh, this is where they really like hit their stride. I don't know. I don't really believe in that sentiment as hard. I would say there were plenty of pretty good moments in the first 27 of C1, which kind of has me worried, I guess. I would say that Bell's Hells is probably the weakest campaign for me so far. Like, I feel like that's what I want to say. Just because, like, Vox Machina, you can tell there's, like, an element of soul and, like, just overall passion. Soul and passion, and how, like, shit the production quality is at times. It's almost hilarious in a way. You know, how it sort of started as like this shitty little group of people, started with very humble beginnings, really. It's really kind of uncanny how it sort of resembles, you know, franchise architecture, I guess, or how I've described, you know, over time franchises kind of rising and falling, I guess, and how Vox Machina is like the Kingdom Hearts 1 of Critical Role's campaigns, and the Mighty Nine is like the Kingdom Hearts 2 of Critical Role's campaigns. I don't know, that's just a funny comparison, but I guess I am sort of worried that Bell's Hells follows a similar path to Kingdom Hearts 3, but who knows, maybe it gets better later on, you know, with a Remind DLC or whatever, however the campaign ends, or you know, if it's a insane, cool, big bad endgame, like Vox Machina or Mighty Nine. Who knows, right? But we're yet to see, and we're only 22 episodes in, so I guess I'm not crazy worried. But I would say that's, some of these ramblings are just kind of a summation of my thoughts so far. And I would say that Bell's Hells is probably currently the weakest campaign. I would say that there are like some emotional ties, and there are decent characterization, but I am worried about the leaning on old elements of stuff, you know, and what makes Ashton's power what it is. Like, was he a barbarian before he got Dunamancy stuff spilled into him, or was that only after that he did that stuff? You know, I'm interested to see where Taliesin takes the character. In other regards, like, does he multi-class? Is he gonna multi-class Ashton? Get a level of rogue or something? It interests me. And especially Chetney and Fern's multi-classing. That is very interesting to me. You know, it's pretty obvious what they want to do. I do like that they're leaning more into their characters' elements. Chetney's overall sneaky / vengefulness, really. And Fern and her sleight of hand, you know, I just want shit gray morality, blah blah blah. Those are cool elements, but overall, those are my thoughts so far on Campaign 3 and some of the other shiz surrounding Critical Role.